Mazaeseda is our last speaker on the agenda today. Thank you, Ms. Todd Williams. And Ms. Mazaeseda, you are one speaker card, but I know that you have a lot of guests here with you. Would everyone who's with Melissa like to wave? Thank you all for being here. Ms. Mazaeseda, why don't you approach the microphone?
Good morning, or good afternoon now. My name is Melissa Mazaeseda, and my agency provides support coordination services to adults and children with developmental disabilities. And this handsome fellow right here is my friend and bodyguard, Tim Headley. And there's three things that I want to impress upon. There's three things that I want to impress upon you guys today. The first one is that there are general disabilities, and then there are developmental disabilities. And the Agency for Persons with Disabilities was actually created in 2004 and only serves people with developmental disabilities. The name of the state agency would actually be more aptly named if it was the APDD, because they only serve folks with developmental disabilities. There's over 5 million people in Florida with a disability, but APD has less than 62,000 people in that state agency. So those developmental disabilities is a very small subset of the disability population. Those 62,000 people that are in APD are divided kind of into two groups. People that are on the iBudget Medicaid waiver program and CDC program receiving services, and the rest of the folks are on a wait list. Developmental disabilities includes Down syndrome, spina bifida, cerebral palsy, intellectual disabilities, an IQ of less than 70. And they're called developmental disabilities because they occurred in the developmental years, oftentimes from birth. And developmental disabilities are lifelong. So the first point is to understand that there is definitely a distinction between general disabilities and developmental ones. The second point that I want to make is to impress upon you is how the Medicaid unwinding has affected people with developmental disabilities in our state. Millions of Floridians went on Medicaid during COVID, and because they lost their jobs. By December of 2022, there was over 5.5 million people in Florida on Medicaid. It's a huge number. The Biden administration gave the go-ahead to the Department of Children and Families to start unwinding people from Medicaid in the spring of 2023. At that time, the Agency for Persons with Disabilities had approximately 35,718 people on the waiver and CDC program. And instead of separating that very small amount of people, they mixed them in with 5.5 million people. And they've unwound those folks from receiving Medicaid. These are people that were on Medicaid long before COVID came into effect. And dropping these folks from Medicaid doesn't mean that they no longer are clients of APD or that they don't have a developmental disability. What it actually means is that their providers are continuing to work for free, because you cannot just abandon somebody with a developmental disability because you're not getting paid. So my agency alone has had to hire 2 additional administrative support just to deal with this bureaucratic nightmare. And what I should be doing instead is hiring support coordinators to take people off of that wait list. Senator Gruters, your office has helped to reinstate more than 40 people's Medicaids, just your office alone, between Vicki and Jeremy. And just one more point, I'm sorry, is developing a quality workforce. There's language that you guys have that was put in there, but the Senate made an effort to do this last session, but it was kind of late. They addressed it during budget conference and identified $50 million to help improve the workforce and actually for us to be able to hire people. If we want to tackle that wait list, this is a great way to go about doing that, to be able to expand that provider workforce. If you look at APD's website, all 6 regions have critically listed services. So that $50 million would definitely be helpful.
Thank you, Ms. Mazaeseda.
I'm done.
Yep.
I know. My 3 minutes is up, but thank you.
Thank you for being here, and thank you to all of you who have made it here to sit through our meeting today. Thank you, guys. So, folks, this is the end of the agenda.